What's up, my excuse killers? So, have you ever thought about as a man, I'm going through this challenge right now and I'm wondering if I'm the only person. Are there other people like me that are going through the same kind of situations? Or ladies, if you have a significant other in your life, a guy that's in your life, whether it's your spouse, brother, father, son, whatever it may be, and you're wondering what are the things that they're dealing with. So in this video, I'm going to break down three of the biggest areas that men are challenged in. Now, this list is, of course, is not there's always, it's not mutually exclusive for other situations and things like that. And once again, we may go in and out of these seasons at different times. So it's not like it's all at one time, but from my own experience, myself, and from coaching men for many years now, these are the things that pop up on a regular basis that we're noticing. And also science and research backs it up too as well. So in these three areas, of course, I'm going to give you guys some practical solutions on how to make changes or how to deal with the challenges when they come. You might be in one of these. You may find you're hitting home right now in a particular season that you're in, or it could be all three. Is life ebbs and flows. Everything is in seasons. It's not necessarily that this is going to be your deal for the rest of your life, but it happens in seasons. And I've gone through all these different seasons with the ups and downs, and in great times and bad times. That's the true meaning of Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's like, can I survive and interact and keep my spirit right when it's the highs and the lows, not too high, not too low, but I need to be prepared for those particular situations as well. So also, if you're watching this live, this is a live forecast, a live broadcast itself. If you got questions, comments, drop them in there. I would love to address those along the way. So, and if you're here right now watching, got several people that are watching right now. Some are in my Facebook group for men, my Lionheart group, and some of you guys are right here live on YouTube. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, like, hit the notification bell, whatever, all the YouTube things like that, share with your peeps, and holla. So let's get into it. Number one is mental and emotional resilience, or mental emotional health, well-being, however you want to frame it in those particular words itself. Okay, we're just in a staff meeting 2 days ago at my church. I'm on staff over there at First Baptist Church of Mobile Falls. And one of the things we're talking about, what are the areas that folks really need help in the seasons of tests and trials and triumphs and all the things that are going on in their life. What are the biggest things? And one of the major things was anxiety, depression. I've done different programs with that for men. I've got a program right now going on. I guess I could drop that in at some point in time. That as far as 45 flow, when everyone's looking for this push and hardness, there's an element that says, okay, I need to have ways to fight against the anxiety that deals with it. So mental emotional health is one of the things. So men are more likely to run into these issues than women. Men are more likely to have substance abuse, depression, and anxiety. So the numbers, I think, is like something like 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 that men fight these issues. And here's the crazy thing. This is what the stats show. We also know that men do a really horrible job of actually admitting and asking for help and going to the doctor or going to a counselor or reaching out for help in these particular situations. Because we're told to just suck it up, grin and bear it, and just do it, whatever it takes. And so some of these situations, it requires us to delve deeper into it. And as far as, hey, have the humility and grace to say, I need some help in these particular situations. So what are some of the culprits of this? Some of it's the hustle and grind culture. Okay, I used to subscribe to that. Hustle and grind. I hustle 24/7. I sleep when I die. Sleep is a cousin of death. These are things that I said myself, and I know a lot of guys even follow in those particulars that footpath. Because social media and this, what you got to do. We got to work work your butt off, and you got to grind it. And I don't even like to use the word grind anymore, because grind it's digging in and you're losing self. You're grinding it down to the pulp. So I believe in hard work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about that. But a part where you're losing a sense of self. You're losing a piece of yourself in that capacity. So we don't want to grind ourselves away from it. But yes, hard work, smart work, all those things are important in there. Also, that affects your mental emotional health is not having the self-control and the discipline. So whether it's with food, whether it's with porn, whether it's whatever the particular thing is, the addiction, the alcohol, the drugs, whatever it may be, not having the disciplines to do those, or the self-control to fight against those things. But also, what are the disciplines in your life? Are you taking care of yourself on a regular basis? Are you exercising? Are you eating healthy? Are you allowing emotions to determine and dictate your actions, the negative ones? So I'm having a bad day. We talk about this, the association with most folks with food and drink. It's, I had a bad, I got a raise. I got a new job. Let's go eat or drink. I just lost my job. Let's go eat or drink. So those associations that come along with that, and so we got to be careful with that, is making sure we do that. Are you doing a self-care? Are you exercising? Are you laughing? Are you doing things that feed your soul? Like in my coaching program, what we teach is connection ports. What are the things that re-energize you? What are the things that revitalize you? Are you doing those things? So for me, physical touch is my love language. So I like physical touch. So that's not just about sex, but petting my dog, a hug for my daughter, physicality of working out makes a difference. I like massage. These are the things that I love to bring into my life. And so, but at the same time, I love to laugh. I also love to make others laugh. I love to serve. I love to be able to give great tips. These are things that fuel me up. So one of those things, are you connecting to the things that actually feed your soul, that feed your experience in life? So are you paying attention to those things, or when it comes down to that? And guess what? There's a stigma, unfortunately and fortunately, that as far as men getting help, it's like admitting that I'm not well. It's okay with not being okay sometimes, but am I going to reach out and ask for help there? Someone on Facebook says, we love to laugh. Yes, that must be you, John. I see you, brother. Yeah, laugh every week. It's just part of laughter. It's part of the experience itself. But there's a stigma, like mental health is a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of awareness. There's a big difference. I'm aware that right now it feels like the world is crashing in. I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. I'm feeling like I can't come up for air. And so I can feel that in my body. I can feel that in my emotions. And sometimes it affects the way I sleep, the way I relate to people. I may be short fused, maybe coming up more so in those particular situations. So I got to be careful in that area and recognize that that's there. But also, whether you like it or not, in a household, the man is still going to be held as a primary responsibility. It's biblical. Eve was the first one to sin. She blamed the devil. Adam did take part of the fruit itself, but when God came to both of them, he didn't say, "Hey, Eve, where you at?" He said, "Adam, where art thou?" So even in my household, I got 3 kids. 2 are already out of the house, 1 is still there. But if anything went down that was bad concerning my kids, as much as my wife and I are both equal as parents, I'm still, as the father and as the head of the household, I'm still going to be the primary one. Adam, where art thou? Calvin, where art thou? Why did you let this under your tutelage? These are people that are entrusted to you in your household. I'm still going to be the one that gets the primary like reaction to it. And I'm the one that's going to be the primarily accountable for those actions. So there's a part of that we got to recognize. But what is my self-worth and my identity? Am I really paying attention to who am I? Even more so, who does God say I am? He says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And he said he will leave the 99 and come find me and search for me if I'm lost. So if I know his love for me is like that, I'm not no whole scripture about do not worry about tomorrow. We have enough stress in today. He's going to take care of the lilies and the birds. He has much more love for us. He sent the son to die for us. So we are loved. We are cared for. Do I believe in that identity, my identity in Christ, first and foremost, and identity in the way he formed me? I got to believe and have some self-worth in that, because the enemy comes in to kill, steal, and destroy. He's going to be the accuser, telling me what I'm not. You're not this. You'll never amount to this. These are the things I know how he works. So if I'm aware of his warfare, that spiritual warfare, I know how to fight those things. I'm not taking off guard. I'm not taking off guard. I'm ready. I understand what that looks like. I'm putting on the full armor. I'm doing the things that God calls me to do in those particular areas itself. So How do we deal with those when they come up? Are we coping with it correctly? Are we going to vices? Are we going into isolation, as most men would do? Isolate and separate ourselves from the help, from the accountability, from all those particular things that we tend to run away from. Okay. So we got to be careful with those particular things. So what are some solutions with that too as well? Of course, coaching, counseling, having individuals around us that help us to do these things. So mentorship, it might be therapy, whatever may be necessary for you to actually come out of it. But do not, first thing God said is not good for man to be alone. And he's not just talking about having a wife or having a companionship. He's talking about companionship across the board. If you look at the relationship between David and Jonathan, his best friend, that relationship was stronger than most female and male relationships. That's how much they had love for one another. We can learn a lot from that relationship. The fact that men need other men relationships to help foster and grow and sharpen, rebuke, correct, all that's necessary. But are you in those environments that helps that? Because iron sharpens iron. You may find that in your church. You may find that in community. You may find that with guys you work out with or play sports with, to pick up basketball or football, whatever it may be. Some of these different associations make a difference. Okay. So yes, number one is mental and emotional well-being or health, whatever you want to call it from that point out. Number two is matters of money. We all know that when the change is strange and the money is funny, it affects all other areas of our lives. I've been there in seasons where the provision just wasn't there. It got tough, and it affects me, especially as the primary provider. For many years, my wife is she's been a homestead engineer. She still had a ministry and all these different things, but not responsible. I'm still the primary person responsible for everything in my house. So it falls on me, and I've got to provide. And even as an entrepreneur, there's no guaranteed check that goes exactly the same way as it with the job. But at the same time, there's no such thing as job security either. I'd rather gamble on my skill set and gamble on my calling, using my gifts, than like I said, depend on a dependable check. Because real talk, you may be the most amazing person at your job, but if they don't have the finances or funding, they have to let you go. So for me, that's what I'll gamble on that. But it's many different ways. And sometimes it's workplace challenges itself, the environment. Sometimes when people are in a toxic work environment, or they don't honor you, they don't respect you. Your core values and to who you are as an individual don't align with what they have in store for the business, or their shifts. I've been in companies where things were moving in one direction, a new management came in, or new policy, or they had a strain. I had a really amazing boss at one of my jobs. It was really great, but they started micromanaging her. And because they was micromanaging her, she did the same thing to me and other individuals because she couldn't help it. That was just the culture of the company, and it shifted that way. So I had the awareness to not take it personal, even though it was hard work. I had to work on that, not taking things personal. So, but that's part of it when I understood the whole thing was going on. Okay, so yeah, as far as those who are entrepreneurs, those who are business builders, that there's so much out there to do, and you got to make sure you stay grounded in the things that's necessary. But are you creating the right offers? Are you putting the right information out there? Are you in alignment? Some people are working at a job or working in a business or their own business because of the financial payoff or the golden handcuffs, but not something that is like in alignment with who they are or where they're going. And so sometimes that could be some conflict going on with that too as well. When it comes down to like financial insecurity or insecurity, not knowing is a hard part. Like, am I not making enough? And so some of those things can really get us in there. Here are the trouble areas. Trouble areas are competition, comparison, and contentment. So first of all, I'm not in competition. Well, sometimes in a work environment, you are competing with somebody for the next position. So are you doing it healthily? Or are you doing this thing about comparison? Most of the time when we do the comparison game, we're comparing our current status, which might be at level 1, 2, 3, or 4. Somebody else is at level 20. And we're comparing our status currently right now to be according to what their status is. That's not even fair. That's why they say that comparison is the thief of joy. If there's no way I'm going to be competing with the person who's gone way before me. My brother Lane Millikian, who was a marathon runner. If I decide I want to go and run marathons, I'm older than him, and I'm experienced in fitness and strength and all training, and I was a college strength coach. I should be able to jump right in and run like him. No, this dude been running his whole life. Now, if I compare myself and my skills, and he's built different, all these different things, but if I compare his capacity and ability, his gift to what's not really my gift, I'm going to put myself into some stress behind it, some anxiety behind that. So I understand that I'm in my lane. Literally, if you want to talk about track, I'm running my race, my lane in a different way. So that's not a comparison. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we got to be careful with that part. And then the contentment. Godliness plus contentment brings great gain. Am I content? Now, most folks think that a lot of times I hear what contentment means. I'm just settling, nothing bigger, nothing bigger, nothing greater than what I'm at right now. But maybe we're not talking about that. With godliness, with contentment brings great gain. There is gain, there is growth, there is change. I'm anticipating or believing for growth, even though I'm content where God has me in this season. The contentment and the gratitude is going to also indicate and dictate and determine how much I move forward in this particular area itself. Okay, so I'm watching that. So my nose itching. Got something must be an allergy in here. So traditional gender roles, being a breadwinner, as I talked about before, there's some roles and stuff that we are supposed to stand in, and it may not be that scenario in your own household. So there's times where the female's the primary. And I got friends like that. The female's the primary breadwinner in the household, and so some of those roles might be conflicted because what are my guys going to think? What's my parents going to think? Or whatever it is. But you guys have to make sure you have that right communication inside of that is fostering your growth and your relationship in the right area. Okay, so paying attention to those particular things itself is another thing we got to look at. Okay. And here's the things we know, some of the common things that, financial literacy, knowing more. Obviously, Proverbs 21:20 talks about the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. There's a part of having some discipline for the long game. But we can have financial literacy and managing debt, long-term goals. All these things are important to have. Financial education, budgeting and tracking expenses, seeking professional help. Like my buddy Caleb Jones just moved into the financial literacy space, helping folks with budgeting and things of that sort. All that stuff matters. But here's something that most people don't consider. What about skill acquisition? What if you actually became more valuable to the marketplace? Now, what does that mean? That might mean you need to get a certification. That might mean you need to take a class, take a course. What if you actually increase your skill set that you can produce more? All right. So instead of that passive part, well, if I just keep hanging out and I keep doing this, eventually I'm going to get this raise. Eventually the money's going to start moving in a different way. What if I got better? What if I read the books and studied this podcast and do all the things, hire a mentor, hire a coach that accelerates my growth in a skill set? Okay, I spent more money, I'm pretty sure, and I spent a lot of money on college. I have 8 years of school, master's degree, all that kind of stuff like that. But guess what? I spent more since then on my personal development, my personal growth, especially when it comes down to leadership and coaching and understanding the psychology and emotions of men and individuals, as far as training and fitness and all those things. I've studied. I'm going to a conference for gym owners coming up at the beginning of next month. So all this is part of me sharpening my axe. So I'm better at it. I better understand myself, but I'm better at getting the skills that allows me to be better because I know my strengths. I'm a big visionary. So also I have the wherewithal. It took a while for me to figure that out, but if I'm a visionary, I need somebody who can implement and put things in place. I had that for my studio. It took a long time working on that part for my Lionheart program, all those things like that. It requires the self-awareness of where my strengths are, but I need to either delegate or hire or some kind of way I need to be able to find a way to delegate this to systems or people. So getting better in leadership of myself and those around me, getting better at the skill. I might need to, if you're an artist, you may need to take some courses or get better equipment. The skills necessary, skills to pay the bills, that whole thing there. But what if I got better? Instead of, that whole thing about I think Bruce Lee, don't pray for an easy life, pray for the strength to endure a hard one. I think that's Bruce Lee. One of those like that. But don't wish it was better. John Rohn says, don't wish it was better. Don't wish it was easier. Wish that you were better. Become better with your skill set that you can be able to do more than. So thanks, John. I appreciate it. I see you dropping in there. Love the points. All good. Thank you. Appreciate it, bro. So yeah, skill acquisition. So number 3. So we talked about number 1 is the mental and emotional health. Number 2 is like marketplace or money issues, money things going on with that. And number 3 is relationship problems. Okay, relationship, like as most marriages just don't go through bliss all throughout. They're going to hit some bumps, roadblocks, all that stuff. You're going all slicks, whatever. You might have some of you might have some what do you call it? The tire thing that knocks your tires out. You might have one of those road what do you call it? Road traps, whatever you call it. Anyway, some of that stuff goes along the way. And my wife and I will be celebrating next month 21 years of marriage. And guess what? We've had some issues. We had some problems. We've had some situations where it got hard and bleak. And, we sought counsel. We got help. All the things we're going to continue to fight for our marriage. But many of us, the guys and gals, even around my age, I'm 48. So I'm finding folks, this is a season where a lot of changes. People are having divorces and fighting for marriages and needing particular situations, help to get through those particular things. So if you're married, your key relationship, it takes work. And there's times where we just don't put in the work necessarily to make that happen. So, really struggling with the relationships in intimacy with in the marriage itself. And I'm not talking about sexual intimacy, but the connections and all those things. You got to put the work in. After that is like great relationships with other men. We don't do a good job of that, guys. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Especially, if you call yourself an introvert, that means you're not out there and you don't really connect with all those folks out along the way there. But we got to connect with other men. And so key friendships make a difference. Most guys say they don't have, but, a small handful of key relationships, guys that they can call a ride or die. You got to have some guys that you can call at 3 a.m, like, hey, I need you. You know what I'm saying? So whatever that particular situation, now my phone, you're going to have to keep calling because it's on silent when I'm going to sleep. Just saying, that's what it is. But, the awkwardness of creating new relationships, guys aren't used to, hey, hi, my name is such and such. And that's me. Let's go for coffee. Ladies, you guys are a lot better at that. But as far as men, what are we doing to make that a priority? Emotionally disengaged teenagers. I never thought I'd go through seasons like that. So my kids are 25, 19, and 17. And I tell you, sometimes I'm like, are you going to allow me to be your father? You got it all down. And I guess I don't remember that me being this hard on my parents, but it's like, dude, listen, I mean, stop trying to run around me. Yeah, I know I'm not the easiest person because I'm a coach. I'm going to tell you like it is. You know what I'm saying? So, but I get that part of it. But there's a part where dealing with your kids, when you see them making mistakes and see them their direction is going to cause problems, and they just don't ask for help. They don't ask for wisdom that you've accumulated over the years. And so that's a hard stage for me right now, because I'm like, do I just let them go? Let them bump the head? Do I help? Do I offer help? It's just a dance right now with my kids. Like, please, like, where did y'all grow up? Were y'all in this household? I don't even know where these kids come from. Like, sometimes y'all just act like the weirdest little heathens on the planet Earth. Some of you guys may be dealing with that. Kids going through transitions. They're going through changes. They're scared about their future, and they don't know how to articulate that in the same way. And sometimes I'm talking to myself right now because I'm in this mirror as I'm talking to you guys. Maybe my ability to decipher and disseminate information in situations, and my awareness is at a level that's pretty high for even somebody that's up here. But I guess because I think they're in my household, that you're going to pick up these things and learn from that, but their brains aren't formed in the same manner to understand these things. So I'm just preaching to myself about more grace. And so that was for me. That wasn't even for y'all. That was just for me. So anyhow, that's one part. But also relationship with your parents. I'm in a phase right now where my mother has health hasn't been the best. So, part of even in next month, I'm going down to visit her. She had back surgery, and caring for your parents is different. I no longer have any grandparents. All of them are gone. My parents are here. One, I'm not saying, but that's part of it is caring for your parents. It's just an awkward, weird role that I love to play, but it's just like, you're supposed to take care of me. You've always taken care of me, and his roles are, are reversed now. And at the same time, having some conflict with my father. I'm in a season right now. We're working our best to mend some things, but I never thought my hero and I would be at odds. But this is where we are, and we're working at it. We're trying to make it work and stuff like that, but it's not easy. So the relationship, not just you. So you're being sandwiched in. If you got kids and then you got parents on both sides, you're trying to make those relationships work, and that's pretty hard too as well. So, just having poor communication with other individuals. Sometimes, as far as men, we don't do well with communicating what we really feel, our true emotions, the way we felt about something. Some of these highly emotionally charged men will have something will happen to them that they're offended with or they're hurt by. But instead of saying, man, you really hurt my feelings and what you said, society says you're a punk by saying something like that. So why don't you just man up and look, dude disrespected you. Instead of it being, I just got hurt. Now I think it's disrespect. And how dare you? So I'm going to go punch him in the face. Oh, wait. So now I got another issue because that's disingenuous to my true emotions. I'm really hurt. I'm really offended. I'm really sad, but I'm going to respond to the anger, which is incongruent with my real emotions. So now I can ruin a relationship with this situation, and I'm still stuck with the hurt. This is the story of so many men who act emotionally, highly emotionally charged because of those kind of scenarios, those kind of situations. That is not benefiting us. Okay, so knowing how to communicate, learn how to be real and true and authentic with your emotions is going to be a big deal, a game changer for your life if you haven't done that. So once again, if you're watching this live with me, drop any questions or comments. I love to respond to those as we go here, as we're in the last point here talking about the relationships itself, as far as relationship problems. Other areas, not having a good relationship with yourself. Okay, my self-love. Like, who am I? What's my identity? Asking myself, is this in alignment with who I am, who I plan to be, who I want to grow into? Is this situation, this scenario, this thinking pattern of these emotions is in alignment with who I am? Have I forgotten who I am? Have I forgotten the patterns or the concerns, all those things that is part of who I am? Have I forgotten that? And some of those things we have to remember. Who am I? Am I having a good relationship with myself? The Bible talks about us, so love others as we love ourselves. But a lot of times we're taught a whole lot how to serve and love on others. But how much are we taught? If the standard is love others as I love myself, do I love myself enough? Do I know myself? Do I care about myself enough? So there's got to be a better relationship with myself. That self-awareness, self-understanding, discipline, all the things necessary for me to grow as an individual. On top of that, what's my relationship with God? Of course. First and foremost, where is this vertical relationship going? Is it strong? Is it fainting? Is it weak? Am I just going through the motions of church as usual or doing the Christian thing versus having that intimate, deep relationship through God's word, through prayer, through the association, going to church, being part of those things, okay? What is my communication? Am I increasing my communication skills? Ephesians 4:29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful in building others up according to their needs. And those the individuals that I have relationships with, am I speaking life or am I speaking death? Am I speaking things that are edifying and growing and building them up or not? Okay. So that's the thing I got to pay attention to. Am I really lining up in those particular areas with my communication? Of course, we talked about it in the first one is, emotional intelligence. Am I able to be real with my emotions and how I'm dealing with those particular things? So even Colossians 3:12, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. So even, we go talk about the fruit of the spirit, love, joy, peace, long suffering, all those things itself are part of it. Am I having the emotions and understanding that I'm going to have fruit of the spirit? I'm going to have character. So character in these relationships are going to be really, really, really key. How do I deal with conflict? Am I having good conflict resolution skills with the individuals I have relationships with? There's some things where, guess what? I didn't know how to deal with conflict too much going into marriage, because growing up, all I knew was win the argument. All I knew was that if I'm in it with somebody, being a little guy, I had a mouthpiece. I could talk about you, your mama, your teeth, your toenails, your shoes, whatever, and I'm going to win. That's just part of it. I'm going to win. And so I had that attitude going into my marriage. And so I would blow my wife down with my words. I would win the argument. But until the Holy Spirit convicted me and said, if you're killing your wife with your words, and you're all one flesh. So if you're killing her, you're killing yourself too as well. Ouch. I needed that conviction because I didn't realize, but that's all I knew. I never saw my parents like have conflict resolution. I never saw it displayed in the household as parents. I never saw it. I'm sure my parents had arguments, but they did it away from us. So I never got to see them have an argument or have a disagreement and then fix it and come back and be good. I didn't see it. So I had no clue how to do that when I got married. There's so many things we have to realize and give ourselves some grace. Like, I just didn't learn this. I didn't learn it. And I thought it was a good thing that I didn't see my parents argue. Like they kept it separate from us. I thought that was a good thing. But it wasn't, because I didn't know and understand what it was that I needed to learn and how to go through conflict. So some of those things are important. So what about as far as in a marriage relationship or getting ready on any intimate relationship itself, couples counseling, retreats, programs. My wife and I have been part of several different things. We did Re-Engage. We taught it and that as far as Weekend Remember with, it's called Family Life. Yeah, Family Life. Weekend Remember. Sometimes you need to get in those places and just get away from life and go and just be poured into. So that whether that's counseling, coaching, whether that is going to an event or a retreat. We just had the 5 love languages. Gary Chapman was at our church. We attended that. So those kind of things, what do we need to do? Quality time and, just to connect. Just not just in your like marital relationships, but in the friends. Like, when the last time you hung out with your boy? You know what I'm saying? When the last time you out went and kicked it? Like I do this purposely. When a cool movie, like a guy movie comes out, I'll do a guy's night out. We go eat, go to the movies. I typically buy all the tickets. I just want guys to have time to fellowship. Sometimes guys get to open up and have some other conversations. So most of the time we just chill. We're not really engaged in anything deep or anything like that. And there's times we need to, and sometimes we will. But let's just go kick it. Come on, bring your son. We want to do our best to try to find a movie that's not too wordy or too many boobies or anything like that. But that's part of the fellowship that I think is necessary to do that. But of course, in your intimate relationships as well. So I gave you some solutions here, but general overarching solutions as I close here is do the hard work. It's the hard work as well, but do the hard work, which means thinking. As a man, think it. What am I thinking on? Thinking on things that are lovely and pure. Am I rearranging? Who am I really? What's the situation? Am I taking time to journal and talk about these particular scenarios that help build and edify the kingdom, build and edify me? Am I recognizing what are the things that I need to do, the hard work? So that's thinking, that's being in tune with my feelings or my emotions, but also the skill acquisition. What do I need to get better at? The actions. What actions do I need to take that's better? Okay. Henry Ford said, thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. Mr. Henry Ford Motors. Thinking. Think and grow rich. You can go and add in thing. Think and get better health. Think and work on your relationships. Think and get better at the money. Whatever it may be. So as part of it is sitting down and isolating or getting away, is getting into some solitude or some silence to say, what is it that I need to be thinking on? What do I need to plan and program into my life from my thoughts? So on top of that, getting clear on my vision and my core values. Who am I as an individual? Not just at a business or workplace, but getting clear on who I am as an individual. Where am I going? The core values and the vision is where my decisions are made when I'm clear on those particular areas itself. All right. So clear vision and core values, your story and your state. What story are you saying about these 3 areas? What do I believe? What story am I telling myself? Because faith and fear are both beliefs. I got to choose the belief that I want to follow. I got to choose the one that I want to engage in and be a part of. So with that, what does that look like for me? What does that look like for the way I see things, the story I tell about myself, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and I believe what God says about me and my identities in Christ. Do I do that? But also my state, my energy, the way I show up. Are those things going to be in the right alignment with where I want to go? Okay. And the last one, just the disciplines necessary and the actions you need to take. Where am I lacking in my self-discipline? Where am I lacking in these particular areas that I need to get more pinned down? So if you're struggling there, you might need a coach or a mentor. You might need to just sit down and iron those things out, or sit with a friend like, yo, I need some help with this, and that. Or can you be accountable? Can we be accountable in this situation? That's one of the reasons why we do team personal training in my studio, because there's accountability, there's growth, there's something about sharpening one another and being in a community of like-minded individuals that are moving towards a similar goal with their health, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, financial, all the areas itself too. So that's what I got for you guys. So if you haven't, once again, on YouTube, go ahead and go ahead and do the follow, get the notification. We're going to continue to grow and build more into this YouTube community. So love you guys. Appreciate it. God bless. Go hard. Peace.